Welcome to our second session in a series of 6 on wellness for the whole man. We're still talking about body now. We had an introduction about food, and then we're going to keep talking a little bit about food. And this second session is on let's eat mindfully. Have you noticed that people are overweight? Well, this is obesity trends. This shows that around the country, in this dark blue, that's 15% obesity. And so in 1990, that's where we were. Let me go through this. I'm going to take just 30 seconds and run through from 1990 to present. And so you can see that's less than 15% the whole country in 1990. In 91, it jumps to 15 to 19, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96. 97, it jumps to 20%. 98, 99, 2000. 2001, it jumps to 25%. 2002, 2003, 2004. 2005, it jumps to 30%. 2006, 2007, look at everybody's down but Colorado, 2008, 2009, and then Colorado legalizes marijuana and boom, they fall. I'm just kidding. I don't know that. I don't know that's true at all. But look at what's happened in the country. We've just been getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. What is the deal? How come we're getting so heavy? Well, I think the main reason is portions are bigger. So here's a Hershey bar. In 1908, it was 0.6 ounces. It was about this big. You know, and now they're 2, 4, 6, they're 8 ounces. You've seen those big Hershey bars as you're checking out. There's that big Hershey bar there, and then we buy it. Why do we buy it? It's a good deal. It's a good deal. And so I did that once. I bought it, and I thought, this is going to last me for like a month. So I sat down in front of the TV. Thanks for that chuckle. I sat down in front of the TV, and I took off a corner. That's a really good bite. I'm just going to have one more bite. And then 30 minutes later, the show's over, and I've eaten a whole bar, a half of a pound of chocolate. I didn't intend to. I was fooled by portion. So you can see that everything has gotten bigger. Here is the hamburger. A few years ago, it's at 300 calories, and now most of them are close to 600 calories. They're twice as big. And now there's a monster burger at Hardee's. It is 1,420 calories. That's a lot of food in one burger. Now, I must admit that I did eat one of those once, but it was strictly for research and scientific purposes when I ate it. And I tried to compensate for it later. But the problem is, these huge portions, we lose track of how much we've eaten. And then when someone has that huge burger, do you think they say, can I have a small fry with that? Probably not. And so now we're adding 600 calories. Now it's a 2,000 calorie meal. That's a lot. How many calories in the largest milkshakes? About 1,000. And so now you're at a 3,000 calorie meal. Now, I'm not as opposed to that if you could actually track it. But this 3,000 calorie meal digests. And then dinner time comes and you're hungry again. And you say, wait a minute, I had that big lunch, I better skip dessert. Skip dessert? You need to not eat dinner, not eat breakfast, don't eat the next day till lunch to make up for 3,000 calories. That's a lot of calories. So we're in this society that portions are huge. How in the world are we going to be able to live healthy in that? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Here is from Riley Burger to Madness. This is just a 100 quarter pounder with cheese. I show that just to gross you out because it doesn't probably exist. I think it's just for this TV show. Now, people come to me all the time and say, what'd you have for breakfast? I had a bagel. Okay, well, the bagel 20 years ago was 140 calories, and now they're 350. And generally, people don't eat a dry bagel. I mean, how many of you eat a dry bagel? No, what do you put on it? Cream cheese. But you eat the bagel because it's fat-free. And then what do we put on it? Cream cheese. And we usually don't put a little thin layer of cream cheese. We usually scoop it out and go lump, lump. Bummer, only made it half the way around. Lump, lump. And so you can add 200 calories to this bagel, and now it's 500 calories. But here's the problem. Is that we're fooled by portion. People will say, I just had a bagel. But you know, there's about 70, 80 calories in a slice of bread. How many slices of bread is this? 5. If someone said, what'd you have for breakfast? I had 5 slices of toast this morning for breakfast. You'd say, you're kind of a pig, aren't you? 5 slices? But when you say, I just had 1 bagel, we get fooled by portion. All right, so what are we going to do with this? Here is Glamour magazine. I had an interview with them. One of my students threw this on my desk, and this is what they said. Make small changes. That's really good. That's exactly what we want to do. We don't want to change our whole life. Make small changes. Take one of the things we talked about today and implement it and start using it when we get to our techniques. And as soon as you say the words, I'm going on a diet, you've already failed. Why? So why is it failure? When you get to your perfect weight to get into the bikini, what do you start eating? The same way you ate before. And now you're 20 pounds lighter, you don't need that much food, and so you mushroom. How many people do you know that lost weight and gained weight and lost weight and gained weight and lost weight and gained weight? Because diets don't work. We're going to talk about something today that has nothing to do with diets. And then, even with Herculean willpower, you can't stay on those diets. When you quit the diet, do you eat just a little bit of it? Suppose people come to me and say, I want to lose weight, I'm eating too much, I'm not going to eat any more chocolate. What's your favorite food? Chocolate. How's that going to go for you? Really well, I'm really going to do it. And so when you break this chocolate thing, what do? Have one little piece of chocolate? You eat all the chocolate you can get your hands on. And so dietary restriction by dieting doesn't work very well at all. And you don't need to make huge changes. Just pick out some of these things we're talking about today and implement them. Here's what we're going to talk about today then in the next 20 minutes, and that is diets don't work. We're going to talk about changing the size of what you eat, making things less visible so you don't eat as much, looking at visual cues, and then what do we say about our food, and then writing it down. These are 5 principles that really help us eat less. Number 1, portion size on consumption. How does this function? I'm going to try this little video here. This is a video we did 10 years ago. You remember Super Size Me? What did the guy do in Super Size Me? He ate fast food for 30 days. He gained 20 pounds plus. He just gained a lot of weight. And his goal was to shut down the fast food industry. Don't you feel sorry for McDonald's that they're empty shells all over the place? Nobody goes there anymore. Well, no, they're thriving. So it didn't work. They changed it to Super Size Me to Value Meal. Oh, good, Value Meal. So we made a video. We were coming back from Europe, and I saw Super Size Me, and then my wife and I were sitting at, I think it was Subway, and I had a spinach salad with 5 vegetables and tuna. That's the healthiest thing I can eat. It's fast food. Fast food's not bad. Too much fast food, and bad fast food is bad. So I said, I'm gonna feed you, Roma, I'm gonna feed you fast food for 30 days, and we're gonna film you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You're gonna eat the right portions, and we're gonna prove people it can be done. And what'd she say? She said, I'm so tired of you turning everything we do into an experiment. Why can't we be like normal people? She said, why don't you get a couple of students to do it? And I said, what a great idea. So I got Aaron and Ellen in my graduate program at Eastern Illinois University, and we put them on a fast food diet for 30 days. So we did this video on portion size meat, and we're going to show you a short clip of it for about 1 minute.
Americans are eating out at an ever-increasing rate. They're spending about half of their food dollar away from home. Is it an impossible mission to eat out and not gain weight?
Hi, I'm Dr. Jim Painter, and in this documentary, we're going to follow 2 students eating exclusively fast food for 30 days.
Our first subject is Aaron Grobengieser, a grad student at Eastern Illinois University studying nutrition. He weighs in at 254 pounds and is an NCAA All-American in track.
So we put these two students on a fast food diet for 30 days. And in the process of that, the CBS morning show called us up and asked us to come out to New York and do a little show on this video. And I'm going to play you just a little clip of this.
We continue our special series this morning with a look at ourselves. To put it quite simply, we are a nation of overeaters. But the good news is there's some simple things that all of us can do about it, and Early Show consumer correspondent Susan Kochman has details. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Hannah. Believe it or not, you can eat fast food, chocolate, candy, and cookies and still shed pounds. You are about to meet a professor who says it all comes down to something very simple: portion control.
Pizza, burgers, fries. We think they're the enemy in the battle of the bulge, but maybe not.
Yes, you can eat all those things and lose weight.
Nutrition expert Jim Painter says it's not so much what you eat, but how much you eat.
I want you to watch Aaron eat this piece of pizza. He's a human eating machine, but you have to watch the pizza very closely as it goes into his mouth.
He proves it in his documentary, Portion Size Me, where he puts two of his students on a 30-day fast food diet.
They both ended up losing a couple of pounds. Their blood cholesterol levels dropped. Their blood lipids stayed normal. Their liver enzymes stayed normal. Everything was fine if they ate the right portion.
And this was eating fast food every day.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And they ended up losing weight.
But getting the right portion size is getting harder. Painter showed us how portions have ballooned. This is a Caesar salad from 20 years ago versus today. Double the portion, double the calories.
And same with the pasta and the meatballs.
Same with the pasta and meatballs. Now, if you just say, give me the regular serving, it's going to be almost twice as much.
And just look at a regular burger and fries from the 50s compared to now.
But don't you think people want this? They don't want that.
They really do. And so one of the problems is that we have this idea that more is better. And if you look at people's waistlines, they are more now, and it's not better.
But is it possible to eat smaller portions and still be satisfied? Painter says yes.
So point number one, we're going to talk about it right now, is what do you do with all of these huge portions, and how do we help ourselves eat less? Number one is smaller plates, bowls, glasses, cups. If you have a smaller thing that you're eating out of, you eat less. You just do. I had a friend that bought a hutch down in Amish country and brought it home and couldn't get the plates to fit in any direction. They wouldn't lay down because they're 12 inches and plates that they were made for were like 7. And they couldn't stand up because there wasn't enough space in it to do it. So they couldn't even use it with the plates we had. So point number one, we're going to talk about this experiment now. Eat out of smaller containers.
To prove his point, he helped us set up an experiment. We invited this group of people to take part in an all-you-can-eat ice cream taste test.
Take as much as you want. If you want to come back for seconds, you can come back for seconds.
We started by splitting them into two separate groups. Group A was given a big scoop, big bowls, and big spoons. Group B was given a scoop, bowls, and spoons about half the size. As a result, Group A took huge portions and piled on the toppings. Once we weighed each bowl, they chowed down. Everyone in this group ate quickly. Most even came back for seconds. But watch what happened when we brought in Group B, the ones with the smaller bowls. They filled their dishes, but with smaller spoons, it took them more time to get to the bottom, and most quit after only...
Now you have to feel sorry for this guy. He can't even hold the spoon, except like this. Who is he? Do you know who he is? He's the guy from The Blind Side. So this is 2006, and I went to an acting studio in New York City, and we got all these students over, and he was one of them. And so he's eating this small bowl and small spoon. He finished his whole bowl, and I said, do you want more? He goes, no, I'm really fine. I said, are you sure? He goes, yeah, I'm really fine. Really? Yeah, okay. And then when the bowls came out and he saw that he had a small bowl, he turned and said, you cheated me, Dr. Painter, you cheated me. I said, what? I asked if you wanted more. He said, I want more now. Okay, so the question is, why was he satisfied before? And when he saw he got a small bowl and felt like he was cheated, then why did he feel badly then? Listen to what this young lady says as we talk about this.
One serving.
Does everybody feel like they ate enough ice cream?
Yes.
Then we revealed the truth of our experiment and the results. Even though both groups told us they were completely satisfied, Group A, the one with the bigger bowls and spoons, ate twice as much as Group B.
Are you surprised that you guys ate double what they ate?
Absolutely. And I can definitely see how just the size of the bowls did it.
Now, she told you what happened. This next young lady has some good insight into why it happened. Listen to what she says.
Why do you think your group ate less?
I guess because when you see that your bowl's full and then you eat everything in there, you feel that you had enough and that's all that you need.
Jim Painter says
That is so true. Now, how can we in this society with these huge portions eat less? Well, that's the first thing. Point number one, have smaller bowls. One time we were at our son's house and we wanted to get ice cream, and he knows I love ice cream. And so he had 3 little kids. He brought out a little kiddie dish like this, and it had like 2 bites in it. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And he goes, Dad, in a smaller bowl, you'll eat less. Why, you can't do that to me, son. You can't. I want a big bowl of ice cream. So the size of the bowl matters.
the lesson is simple. Control your weight by controlling your portion size.
What is the appropriate size?
I don't think you need to make a big calculation. And I tell people this, and I'm really serious about this. Reach down and grab your side. If there's more there between your thumb and your index finger than you want, think small and choose small.
You know, so I'm joking there, but it's really true. How many times have we said, my life's goal right now is to lose 20 pounds? And then we get up in the morning and we forget about it. And we go out to eat and they say, would you like to supersize that? Yes. Would you like 2 of those? I'll have 2. You know, have a big meal and dinner, and then you lay down at night and have complete recall and go, oh my goodness, I am a pig. I did it again. I did it again. I didn't want to, but I did it again. And we do that day after week, after month, after year, after decade, because we lose track of portions. How can we help ourselves to actually do it? Smaller bowls, smaller plates.
Yes, I have that problem.
Don't do that now, Susie. You're pregnant. You're eating for 2. But what do you have here?
Well, Painter says that choosing small can be as easy as downsizing all of your plates, bowls, and glasses. So here's a look at the dinner plate that I normally use at home. It's huge, so I'm downsizing to this plate.
Okay. You know what? We actually did that in our house.
And did it work?
Yeah, of course it works, because
Yeah,
you
it
put the
does.
same amount of food and it looks like it's full on the plate.
Absolutely.
He has some other great tips.
Point number 1, smaller bowls, plates, cups, glasses, everything, and you'll eat less. We did a study once where we gave faculty a 16-ounce glass and a 32-ounce glass of soda. The meeting went for 3 hours. Every time they got halfway, we'd swap it out with a new one, so they lost track of how much they were drinking. And when they had the bigger glasses, they drank twice as much. They had no idea that they were doing it. And then even what you stick your hand into makes a difference. So Brian Wansink, a friend of mine, did this study with a large bucket of popcorn and then an extra large bucket of popcorn, and people ate 50% more with that big bucket of popcorn. And then he let the popcorn sit out for 10 days. How good is popcorn the next day? Pretty bad. How good is it 10 days later? It's really bad. And so here's this 10-day-old popcorn, and these were smart people. They ate less. But my question is, why did they eat it at all? I mean, it's nasty popcorn. And so Brian told me that they would start with a fresh popcorn and eat and eat and eat and eat, and they'd fill up, and then the movie would start. And with the bad popcorn, they'd take a bite and go, ew, yuck. And they'd wait 5 minutes and, oh, yeah, still bad. They'd wait 5 minutes, oh, still bad. And they just nibbled on it all the way through the movie. And so when you gave them the bigger container, they ate 50% more of the nasty popcorn because the container was bigger. That's pretty powerful. If you want to eat less, eat with smaller containers. Even at the grocery store, when you buy a small, a medium, or a large anything, whether it's spaghetti, Crisco, or M&Ms, the bigger the container, the more you take out of it. If you have this much spaghetti, you'll grab this much. If you have this much spaghetti, you'll grab this much. And so smaller containers, even at the store, is part of our portion decision, getting smaller portions at the store. Number 2 of my 5 points, visibility and convenience. I used to always wonder, when you have candy sitting out at Christmas time, how much more do you eat? This is 15 years ago. We sent the students out, couldn't find anything, so we started doing studies. And this is the first study that we did. We put Candy Kisses on the desk and in the desk drawer. So we moved them from here to here 4 inches below. And consumption dropped by 30%. That's a lot. That's huge. And so then we made it inconvenient, and it dropped 60%. Here's the inconvenient part. People actually had to stand up and get it. That decreased consumption 60%. Because people are sitting there thinking, man, I'd like chocolate, but it's way up there. Can you stop and get that chocolate for me when you're walking by? And then can you wrap it and unwrap it and put it in my mouth and gently move my mouth so I don't have to worry about chewing? You know, it's like we're lazy, and our laziness factor can help us if we just keep the things out of sight and a tad inconvenient, we'll eat less. We did this with healthy foods. We moved them from the desk drawer to the top of the desk. And what happened, we ate more grapes, chocolate, carrots, pretzels, when we made them visible and convenient. Now, why was it so big with carrots? Well, I think it's this. How many of you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon say, man, I've been craving a carrot all day? Well, you don't. But chocolate you will seek out. Didn't you have chocolate yesterday? Can I get some of your chocolate today? We'll find it. But we know carrots are good for us. We will eat them. So this is kind of the other side. Would you like to eat better? Have those things available. And you will eat more if it's available and convenient. And then we put 5 boxes of raisins in the desk drawer, and then we put 5 boxes on top of the desk, and people ate 20% more. And then we put 10 boxes instead of 5 boxes, and people ate another 20% more just because there was more there. So that's pretty dangerous too. You have a whole lot of something, you eat it and think, well, I need to get rid of this. And so you just eat it. And that's a really bad idea if you're trying to lose weight. Okay, number 3 of my 5 points is visual cues. We did a study with soup bowls, and we had 40 participants, and we had half of them with a normal bowl, half was a refillable bowl. And this is what happened. When we had the refillable bowl, people ate twice as much. So we had a table that was seating about 8 people, and we had bowls on the table, and then we had a pot. You could take more soup from the pot if you wanted. Nobody ever did. When we were done, we recorded how much people ate. And then we lifted up the skirt of the table and showed them that these 2 bowls were being fed with a tube under the table from the pot. So every time they ate, it filled back up. Every time they ate, it filled back up. Every time they ate, it filled back up. So they couldn't finish the bowl. There was one young kid that ate so far down to the bottom, so fast, he could see where it was filling in the bottom. He's moving his spoon back and forth. He runs over and says, Dr. Painter, what? He grabs me. He pulls me back over. There's something moving in my bowl. And so we look at it. By then, it had filled back up. And I said, really? Just eat. There's nothing in your bowl. And there really wasn't. You can imagine his surprise when we showed him at the end of the experiment that the bowl was refilling. He ate 4 bowls of soup. And I said, what were you trying to do? He said, I was just trying to finish my bowl, but it kept filling up, so he couldn't do it. Our brain looks at visual cues to tell us how much we're eating. I mean, we have the mechanisms built in here to tell us when we're full, but the food is so dense and so calorie dense that we can eat right past that. And we have to trust more and out there to tell us how much. That's why the bowl works. You finish the bowl, you're done. If it's a smaller bowl, you're done sooner. And then we asked them, how much do you think you ate? They thought they ate the exact same amount. And so there's a guy across the table from you eating 4 bowls of soup. You're eating 1 bowl. How much did you eat? About the same. Because you're trusting in the bowl to tell you how much you had. So visual cues, we need to be aware of them. One time, my daughter-in-law said, Dad, there's something stupid about you in Better Homes and Gardens. It says, Dr. Painter says little candies are evil. And I said, that's it? And she said, yeah, pretty much. She said, it sounds like you're a witch hunter. Smoking's bad, cussing's bad, and little candies are evil, says Dr. Painter. She said, do you have a point? And I said, yes, my point is, if you have a candy bar this big, or this big, you eat the whole candy bar, you're done. You don't eat most of it and save the last bite for later. You eat the whole thing. What told you were done? It's gone. Yeah, it's gone. And so when you have little tiny candies like this, you have 5, 10, 15. Later in the day, you have 20, 40, 30. At the end of the day, you have 40, 50, 60. And people said, what'd you eat today? And say, you know what? I fasted all day. I just had a few candies. Yeah, you had like 20 candies bar. But that little candy bar didn't tell you how much you had, and that's why it's evil. It's not a portion. If you have a portion, you eat the portion, you're done. If you have those little candies, you lose track of how much a portion is, and you just keep eating because you're just fasting all day and you're not eating hardly anything. So visual cues tell us how much we eat. Number 4, even what we say about food is important. And so we did this experiment. My grad student did this in my lab, where we took bottles of wine that were California wine, ripped off the label, and put North Dakota wine on there. And then we asked people what they thought about the wine. And this is what happened. When it had the red is California, the blue is North Dakota. When you said expected tastiness, the expected tastiness was half. Yeah. And then the expected rating was low. And this is the actual tastiness of the cheese was much lower in the North Dakota wine. But it was the same wine. And people rated the cheese lower when they were drinking it with North Dakota wine, but it was the same wine. So we're fooled so easily by what we say about something. We did this experiment where we had red beans and then Cajun red beans, and then seafood fillet and succulent Italian seafood fillet. And this is what happened. When we had the fancy names, people thought it tasted significantly better. So we would have people come by and have pudding, and then they'd have grandma's chocolate Dutch pudding made in the home country. And people go, this pudding's really good, but it's the same pudding. It was the same people through the line, the same cooks making it, the same students serving it. The only thing different is a little thing on there that said pudding or Dutch chocolate pudding made by grandma. And it made this much difference. People thought the texture was better, and they thought the calories were more, all because of what we said about it. And it made more of a impact with main dishes than desserts. So if you had no label or label and a dessert, it's chocolate. I don't care. I'll eat it. I don't care what it says. But it was fish. People would say, I remember that dry fish we had yesterday. It wasn't very good, and it didn't taste good. But this succulent Italian seafood fillet is wonderful. I love succulent. I love Italian. This succulent Italian fish is wonderful compared to that dry stuff that you gave us last week. It was the same fish. It was the same customers, the same servers, and it made this much difference in what they thought of it. So we just need to be aware. You can use this to your benefit and talk nicely about the food you want people to eat, or you can use it the other way. And then the last one is tracking things. There was a study where we had people for 3 weeks, and before the holiday, during the holiday, and at the end of the holiday. And so what this is the non-holiday week that's shaded. So these are people that wrote it down: poor, better, better, best. This is quartiles of consistency. How well did you write it down? When you wrote it down poorly, they gained weight. If you wrote it down better, you lost weight. If you wrote it down really well, you lost a lot of weight. And then this white is during a holiday. If you wrote it down a little, you gained weight, gained weight, gained weight. If you wrote everything down before you ate it, you lost weight even on a holiday. That's amazing. How do you do that in a holiday when you're pigging out? Writing it down is so important, and I encourage you, if you're going to try one thing, do this. Here's the last study, and it's the same thing. They said to these people, we're watching you, and they lost weight. And then they forgot they were being watched. And then the holiday came and they pigged out, and the holiday ended. They kept pigging out until what time? When do you stop pigging out after a holiday? When your pants don't fit anymore. And you go, my goodness, I've gained 2.5 pounds. I'm a pig. I got to cut this out. And you start losing weight. But you've already gained 2 pounds. Now, here's the people that were writing it down. They lost weight. The holiday came. They lost weight, but not as much. Holiday ended. They kept losing weight until they stopped writing it down, and they leveled off. These people gained 2 pounds. These people lost 2 pounds. That's over a holiday. This is incredible. If you really want to be able to lose weight, writing it down and tracking what you eat is extremely important. Here's what we talked about in this lesson number 2, and that is portion sizes have increased at home and eating out. What do you do? Well, what you do is smaller containers and packages decrease consumption. Visual cues tell us how much we eat, and less visible, less convenient, less consumption. And then self-monitoring reduces consumption. Write it down and monitor it. All right? This is the end of our second one, and this corresponds to the Let's Eat Mindfully book. And so those are available on Amazon. And you can find these 5 things and another 5 studies we didn't have time to put into this program. So thanks for coming to our second session in our series of 6. Thanks.